Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden and his running mate Senator Kamala Harris of Indian origin inched closer to the magic figure of 270 Electoral College votes, even as incumbent Republican President Donald Trump moved ahead with his plan to mount a massive legal battle. Biden is falling short of 6 to 17 Electoral College votes according to the projections made by various media outlets. Trump's count for Electoral College votes stood at 264, with his path to victory getting narrower. By late Wednesday, Trump declared victory in the battleground states of Pennsylvania, Michigan, North Carolina, and Georgia. Democratic nominee Joe Biden has won more votes than any other presidential candidate in US history, shattering a record set by former President Barack Obama, according to a media report. As of 4 November, Biden had got over 70.7 million votes, more than anyone who has ever run for president, the National Public Radio reported. This count includes 3 million more votes than what Obama got in 2008, which was the previous record. Biden surpassed the popular vote record of 69 million set by Obama in 2008. So what has caused Trump, the first non-political president in American history who set new voting records in the last presidential elections, to face such a grim and unpredictable polls this time? The reasons are many, but let's take a look at the most important ones. Firstly, the COVID-19 pandemic. During most election years in United States, the polling day marks the beginning of the end of what is usually a long and contentious political season. A vast majority of American voters line up at their local polling stations to cast their ballot for the next president. But 2020 is not like most years. The coronavirus pandemic has upended nearly every aspect of this election cycle, from how presidential campaigns are concluded to how the country ultimately votes. The pandemic spawned an election year like never before. Rallies were held virtually, conventions were called off, debates were rescheduled, a record number of ballots were sent by post, and smack in the middle of it all, President Donald Trump himself tested positive for the deadly infection. The pandemic has affected American economy very badly. Even though Trump administration didn't give much emphasis to COVID-19 prevention, citing that it would impact the economy, towards the end of his term, his administration's efforts didn't save the economy nor the country's people suffering from the pandemic. Secondly, Trump's immigration policies. Trump's first term has shattered the decades-long bipartisan view of immigrants as a pillar of the nation's identity. During the past 4 years, his administration has issued scores of proclamations, regulatory changes, legal decisions, and executive orders seeking to reshape immigration policy. Trump has ordered border agents to separate migrant children from their parents, has cut work visas for foreign software engineers, and has erected giant steel barricades across hundreds of miles of borderlands. The changes have been dizzying in their scope and frequency, but they follow a singular logic: to make the United States a more closed, restrictive nation, to wall it all off. And finally, his stand on police brutalities on Afro-Americans. Despite the protests that jolted the country in the wake of the police killings of Breonna Taylor and George Floyd, and the current unrest in Philadelphia following the police shooting of a black man, Walter Wallace Jr., Black Americans are among those showing up at the polls in record numbers. Trump had never condemned the police brutalities on Afro-Americans in the US, and he even insulted Afro-American legislators in Congress and Senate, further inviting harsh criticisms and contempt from all corners. News Desk, Count the English.